Now we're going to make a chiffon cake, and we're going to make a lemon ginger variety. Ginger can sometimes help with nausea, and you can add as much ginger to this cake as you'd like. Also, it's a really flexible recipe, so you just need 3/4 a cup of liquid. You can use coconut milk, almond milk, soy milk, water, with any kind of flavorings that you like. Coconut extract, almond extract, orange juice, so it's really flexible. Also, this cake is essentially a regular cake batter plus a meringue. So you end up getting a much lighter cake with sort of fluffier pieces. So you can still have a big piece, but get a lot less calories than you would with a regular cake. So we're gonna whip the egg whites. This is 7 egg whites. And we're just gonna kind of get our KitchenAid started with some cream of tartar, which just helps make it foamy and nice. So you want to stop your mixer when it gets to soft peak stage, which is basically when you should be able to kind of scoop some up and it won't really, you'll get a little tip, but it won't stay. It's still pretty loose, but white and foamy. At this point, you can start adding the sugar, and you're going to beat it until it gets stiff peaks, where when I dip my spatula in, it should come out and be stiff. If it starts to look all breaky, that means that you over-whipped it and you have to start again. Yeah, sorry. So don't go anywhere while you're doing this. You gotta watch it, because it can happen instantly. Also helps if you don't go too fast. At a certain point, you can sort of scrape down the sides a bit, just to make sure that sugar that you put in isn't sticking to the edges. Otherwise, one, it's not gonna be sweet enough, and also it's going to kind of have a grainier texture. Keep going. All right, so now to check it, again, just kind of give it a little dip, pull it out, and you see that peak, how it stays perfectly upwards? That means you've got stiff peaks. You don't really want to go further than that. I mean, you could, like a little bit, but no point. I can take that off. So it whipped. Nice. That's pretty good. So for this cake, we're just going to push this off to the side. See the nice kind of fluffy egg whites. And you don't really need to worry about cleaning your bowl, because it's all going to go together in the end here anyway. So back onwards. Place this. And here we're going to add pretty much all the other ingredients. So egg yolks. This is 1 less egg yolk than you had egg whites, so this is 6. Fine. Little salts. You can already start mixing that. Salt and sugar can start to burn your egg yolks just because of the crystals, so start mixing them as soon as you add those things. And we're gonna have baking powder, flour, and you just wanna mix that up. So this mixture is gonna be really dry. And it's at this point where you can sort of add whatever variation, whatever flavoring you want to this cake. So you just need 3/4 a cup of liquid, and then really anything you want. So 3/4 a cup of coconut milk, 3/4 a cup of orange juice with orange zest, 3/4 a cup of almond milk with almond extract. We're gonna do 3/4 a cup of water. Oh, oil as well. Mix that up a bit. We'll do 3/4 a cup of water, and then it's really anything goes. We're gonna do a little lemon and ginger. So ginger, for some, the aroma can be soothing for nausea, and you can really add as much ginger to this as you want. fresh ginger, ginger powder, crystallized ginger. Depends on how much flavor you or your children can handle. And just mix it up until there's no lumps. And again, take a minute to scrape down the sides, make sure all that flour and everything is getting fully incorporated. And just beat it up. That's enough. Anytime you have flour in a cake recipe, you want to mix it until it's just no lumps. You don't want to sit there beating it, or you're going to have a tougher product. So now we have our cake batter. Let's see. So you want to fold light into heavy. Whenever they're talking about folding, take your light ingredient, fold it into your heavy ingredient. And we're going to do this in fourths. So folding, you can do it with a spatula, but it's just kind of dragging bottom to top. So you can do it with a whisk, and you're just going to kind of take a chunk, put it in, and fold it over. And the first one, most likely, is going to be a bit more of a mixing in, because you have to loosen the heavy ingredient enough to accept that much meringue. So you can sort of see it lightening up, and once that's incorporated, take another chunk. Just fold. Again, you can't really rush it, because if you end up just beating it in, you're not going to have a nice, light, fluffy cake. One of the benefits of using meringue is you get a lot more air, so you can actually have a smaller piece, so it's less fat, less calories per serving. So by this point, you want to make sure it's pretty even, because that last quarter is just going to be for fluffing. You don't want to have to really incorporate it too much. So we have no more chunks of batter. Let's go for the rest. Okay. So we're going to stop there. You have to kind of resist temptation to keep going. And we're going to put it in an ungreased tube pan. This is like a spring form, sort of. The bottom is removable. When you're working with these, probably nothing's going to happen, but just in case, put it over something else, because if your batter's just a little too liquidy, it can get all over your oven, and it's not a good scene. So just going to pour that in. That's pretty much enough. As you're scraping, if you're like, oh, that doesn't really look like a very mixed in part of the batter, just leave it. Not worth it to ruin your cake. Okay, so we give it a little shake so it's nice and even, and I put it in the oven.